Radio. The future is not just happening. The future is built by us.
This is Smorgasbord Radio. I'm your host, Chris, and with me in the studio once again to kick off the new year, Chief Conspiracy Correspondent, Mr. Jerome Malowskis.
Now more relevant than ever.
How about it? Aren't you? I think you've got a permanent role here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Welcome. Happy New Year.
Hey, everybody.
It's a clown world.
Tell me about it.
All right. We're going to try to use this as our segment for just highlighting the absurd to kind of off-balance, some of the other serious topics here. There's a lot of weird stuff going on out there, and it's sort of just a commentary on our culture.
Which, even though it is kind of funny, it's also kind of serious as well, to be honest with you.
So this week, I've got a couple of topics here that I found maybe kind of interesting here. So did you hear the Joker has become pregnant?
That's I don't even know what to say to that.
Yeah. Pregnant and gave birth to a handsome baby. The latest chapter in the Joker's nefarious story arc may be the DC Comics arch-villain's most unusual yet. He becomes pregnant. In the latest issue of DC Comics series The Joker, the Man Who Stopped Laughing, Batman's nemesis actually carries and gives birth to a child. If that sounds strange, that's
Yes.
the way the graphic novel company intended it.
You think?
Readers may be tempted to think this is part of DC's attempt to do some more woke LBGTQ inclusive storytelling.
Sounds like it.
With the Joker being a transgender man undergoing a typical pregnancy, but it's not quite that simple.
Never is.
The backstory on this latest issue detailed how the Joker wanted to pursue an heir in a more traditional way by courting the superheroine Zatanna
Never heard of her.
into starting a family with him. Though his advances are rebuffed and the tables are turned on the Joker in a surprisingly disturbing manner. Zatanna is a magic user who can cast spells by speaking in reverse. So, disturbed by the Joker's attempt to court her, she casts a spell on him to ensure that no one else will ever have the Joker's baby. Sorry, I'm struggling here with this. But the music is distracting me.
Maybe you want to bring it down a little or something, at least.
Jeez.
There you go. Because it'll start to give me a headache.
Oh, my gosh.
Whoa.
As with many magic
We're
spells in
jamming here.
fiction, the hex doesn't work as envisioned. Rather than turning Joker into a female repellent, as one would expect, the spell makes it so that the villain himself becomes pregnant and has his own baby.
Oh, no.
So, I don't know. It's just...
Well, I just think in the context of what's been going on with, things like, especially with things like Marvel and then with DC as well, though Marvel seemed to jump into this wokeness a lot quicker and sooner than DC did. But DC they're certainly been making up for lost time.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Which is unfortunate.
The next story I have here is from... We've been heard about Prince Harry this week. He has his own memoir. It's called Spare. the joke. Spare me the details.
Yeah, please.
He reveals whether he is circumcised in his memoir. Released this past Thursday or Tuesday. It's basically a slam on the royal family. He's really coming all out. Prince Harry, age 38, revealed in his bombshell Spare memoir that despite rumors of the contrary, both he and his brother Prince William are circumcised. The Duke of Sussex recalled that the question of whether he and William were cut or uncut was a matter of public record and indeed some public curiosity.
I was never curious about
I
it.
never thought about it.
Not once.
He writes in his memoir that there were countless stories in books, papers, about Willie and me not being circumcised. Mummy had forbidden it.
Mummy?
Mummy. And while it's absolutely true that the chance of getting penile frostbite is much greater if you're not circumcised, all the stories were false. I was snipped as a baby. Harry's confession arose as he detailed getting frostbite at his oldest brother's pre-wedding dinner.
Frostbite?
How does that happen? Unless you're like in the snow with it.
Yeah.
Snowman, snow lady. The ex-royal shared that on the frigid excursion, he'd gotten frostbitten ears and cheeks, but declined to mention that his phallus, do we really need to know this? Had also experienced some adverse reaction to the chilly weather. Upon arriving home, I'd been horrified to discover that my nether regions were frost-nipped as well, he writes, and while the ears and cheeks were already healing, the todger wasn't.
The Todger.
It was becoming more of an issue every day, by the day.
Gotta love that British slang.
The injured royal used Elizabeth Arden cream on his afflicted member, on the advice of a friend, who we assumed did not have a medical degree,
I would think
until he finally consulted a doctor.
Yeah.
So, there you go. You have the answer now, Jerry.
an answer to a question I never wanted to ask. So, good.
Next story. A woman of age 21 has been blinded in both eyes by a tattoo artist in a botched attempt to dye her eyeballs black like a rap star.
A rap? Which rap stars dye their eyes like that?
Let's find out. A tattoo artist who blinded a woman after a botched attempt to dye her eyeballs black was fined £30,000. Peter A. has been slapped with a hefty penalty after he was found guilty of incompetence by a court in, is it Wrocław, Poland?
Wrocław.
How do you say that?
Wrocław.
Wrocław. Oh, yes, of course.
Hey.
Wrocław. Wrocław, Poland.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Hey, I'm not only the CCC, I'm also international jury.
International.
Bon vivant
Yeah.
of world culture.
The court heard that he did not know how to perform eye tattoos and used a similar technique to tattooing skin. Alexandra Sadovska, age 25,
That's a Polish name.
has been left blind in one eye and forced to have the other removed after the hellish inking. The then 21-year-old had headed into the tattoo studio in Warsaw in April 2017 after browsing local artists online. She was inspired to get the whites of her eyes tattooed black after seeing Polish rapper Popek undergo the procedure himself.
Jak się masz?
The former model said at the time, "I've always wanted to tattoo eyes. I thought they would suit me. But after placing blind faith in Peter A., Alexandra quickly realized that there was catastrophic consequences to the invasive tattoo. She began suffering pain in her eyes, which the tattooist reportedly said was expected and could be treated with painkillers. But he had penetrated the eyeballs too deeply with his needle while using an ink that was uncertified for the use on eyes. She eventually lost complete sight in her right eye. I guess next time she should probably ink twice before going with this procedure. Okay, all right.
Oh, man. Well, I hate to say it, but that sounds like another Darwin Award.
I think so. And finally, back to Damar Hamlin, his collapse.
Okay.
One article is saying...
What is the follow-up? Because I never actually found out what happened to... I know he went to the hospital, but I never heard what happened to him after that. Yeah,
he got released and he was back in Buffalo, I think, a few days ago.
Okay.
But apparently somebody believes that this incident, this collapse, highlights the violence black men experience in football. This ordinary violence has always riddled the sport, and it affects all players. But black players are disproportionately affected.
And why is that, by the way? Did they give a reasoning for that?
Maybe because there's more black men in football than white men? Let's read on. While black men are severely underrepresented in positions of power across football organizations, such as coaching and management, they are overrepresented on the gridiron. Non-white players account for 70% of the NFL, nearly half of all Division I colleague football players. Nearly all Division I college football players are black. Further, through a process called racial stacking, coaches racially segregate athletes by playing position. These demographic discrepancies place black athletes at a higher risk during play. So, okay.
Oh, I like to know where they're getting their what's the word I'm looking for here? Their information from in that regard, because I have a feeling they're just trying to stoke it up to make it to another thing that they can attribute to systematic racism, which is like everywhere.
Yes.
So it's like whatever you do, it's going to be systematically racist, especially if you're a white person.